Prince Edward, Duke of Edinburgh, met his future wife, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, in 1987. After several years of courtship, Sophie, a former Oxford, England, public relations officer, married Queen Elizabeth's youngest son in 1999. Following their union, they received the titles of Earl and Countess of Wessex and later became full-time members of the royal family. In the years since, both Sophie and Edward have dedicated their lives to charitable work, first on behalf of Edward's mother, Queen Elizabeth, and now on behalf of his brother, King Charles. Despite her position in the royal family, Sophie has made it clear that her two children, Lady Louise and James, Earl of Wessex, will make their own way in the world. "We tried to bring them up knowing that they are very likely to have to work for a living," she told the Sunday Times. "That's why we decided not to use the HRH titles. They have them and may decide to use them from the age of 18, but it's very unlikely." In 2023, Sophie became Duchess of Edinburgh on her husband's 59th birthday, when King Charles made her younger brother Duke of Edinburgh. The royal title previously belonged to her father, Prince Philip, who died in April 2021. Soon after, Sophie attended one of her first royal events with her new title wearing a very special accessory, the black and white pearl earrings that Prince Edward gave her on her wedding day in 1999. From her life before meeting Prince Edward to her support of the royal family in difficult times, here's everything there is to know about Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh. Born in Oxford. Born Sophie Helen Rhys-Jones on January 20, 1965, Sophie was raised in Oxford by her parents, Mary and Christopher Borns Rhys-Jones. Her mother was a secretary and worked for a charity, while her father was a sales director. Sophie attended Dulwich Preparatory School and Kent College before enrolling at West Kent College for security training. She went into public relations. After training as a secretary, Sophie began working in public relations. She worked at Capital Radio, a popular UK radio station, for 4 years before working for other companies. In 1996 she set up her own PR agency, RJH Public Relations, with her partner Murray Harkin. Sophie and Edward left their jobs in 2002 to devote themselves full-time to the royal family. She met Edward at work. Sophie met her future husband in 1987, when she was working at Capital Radio and he was dating a friend, according to the BBC. They crossed paths again in 1993 during a promotional photo shoot for the Prince Edward Summer Challenge. Sophie worked for the public relations agency hired to coordinate the photo shoot and, after a celebrity guest dropped out, was hired as a model to pose on a tennis court with the prince. No one knew there was attraction between them that day, Sally Jones, a tennis champion who was present at the shoot, recalled to People in 1999. But Edward always had an eye for bright girls, and Sophie is bright, bubbly and fun. Their first date, which included tennis and dinner at Buckingham Palace, took place soon after. She has been married to Edward since 1999. Edward proposed to Sophie during a vacation in the Bahamas in December 1998, and they announced their engagement on January 6, 1999. "I managed to catch her completely by surprise. She had no idea it was going to happen, which is what I really wanted to do," Prince Edward said in a video shared by the Associated Press. "The problem is that everyone always speculating made it very difficult. Every time there was another round of speculation, I had to be very quiet again." Sophie added of the surprise proposal, "I was a little stunned for a minute, and then I realized that I actually had to answer the question, so then I said yes. I said, yes, please." On June 19, 1999, they were married in St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle, with an estimated audience of 200 million viewers worldwide. Unlike other royal weddings, the couple requested that their special day not be a state event, and their 560 guests were mainly friends and family. On their wedding day, Edward was made Earl of Wessex and Sophie, Countess of Wessex. They spent their honeymoon at the Scottish castle of Balmoral. She is the mother of 2 children. On November 8, 2003, Sophia gave birth to her and Edward's first daughter, Lady Louise Alice Elizabeth Mary Mountbatten Windsor, at Frimley Park Hospital in Frimley, England. As Louise arrived prematurely, Prince Edward missed her birth because he was on an official visit to Mauritius. A month before her due date, Sophia suffered a placental abruption and underwent an emergency caesarean section. As a precautionary measure, Louise was transferred to the neonatal unit at St. George's Hospital in London. Her early arrival also resulted in Louise suffering from esotropia, an eye condition in which one or both eyes turn inward, which led to Sophie's interest in charity work with premature children and avoidable blindness. Sophia and Prince Edward's second child, James Alexander Philip Theo Mountbatten Windsor, was born on December 17, 2007 at Frimley Park Hospital. James is the youngest grandson of the late Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip and was nicknamed Viscount Severn at birth. He became Earl of Wessex on March 10, 2023, after his father assumed the title of Duke of Edinburgh. Despite being younger than his sister, James is 14th in line to the throne and Louise 15th, as both were born before the Succession to the Crown Act 2013. This law ended the male primogeniture system for those born after October 28, 2011, meaning that birth order, regardless of sex, now determines the order of succession. Instead of being called Prince or Princess or Her Royal Highness, both Lady Louise and James, Earl of Wessex, are called children of a duke. If they wish, they may choose to adopt royal titles when they turn 18, according to the Letters Patent of 1917. It decrees that all children of the monarch's heirs have princely rank and may choose to use the designation of His Royal Highness or Her Royal Highness. After Prince Edward's death, the title of Duke of Edinburgh reverted to the crown, as it was not hereditary and would not be inherited by his children. She became Duchess of Edinburgh in 2023. On his birthday in 2023, Edward was made Duke of Edinburgh, and Sophia became Duchess of Edinburgh, a title previously held by her late mother-in-law, Queen Elizabeth. Sophia and Edward debuted their new titles by meeting with members of Scotland's Ukrainian community at Edinburgh Town Hall, marking the one-year anniversary of the city's official response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The couple met with families who have made the city their home since the conflict broke out in Ukraine in 2022. "Thank you so much for welcoming us to Edinburgh today on such a special and overwhelming day," Edward told the crowd. He referred to Sophia as his wife and Duchess, prompting laughter from the crowd. "But I also want to express my thanks to everyone who has worked so hard to make our Ukrainian friends feel so welcome," he added. Passionate about charity work. The Duchess of Edinburgh is a patron of more than 70 charities and organizations, according to the palace, and has taken on hundreds of annual engagements since becoming a full-time active member of the royal family. Sophie has focused on charities related to avoidable sight loss and blindness, frontline workers, gender equality and accessibility. The Countess of Wessex was amazing. "I saw her hugging 3 or 4 people," attorney Pranav Bunot told People. "It seemed like she was really the glue that kept everyone pretty strong today." In a touching moment after the service, Sophie put a reassuring arm around Prince George. As the eldest son of Princess Kate and Prince William, George became second in line to the throne after the Queen's death. "He seemed to be the person who held the family together," Bunot explains. "There were some bishops who burst into tears when they saw the Queen and she sort of comforted them, even though she was the direct member of the family." She attended King Charles's coronation in May 2023. On May 6, 2023, Sophia attended King Charles's coronation alongside her husband. She wore a handmade cream gown by Susanna London under her Royal Victoria Order mantle. Designer Susanna Crabb told People that she wanted Sophia's dress to be unique, iconic, but in a quiet way. Crabb incorporated soft British touches, including floral embroidery inspired by London ceramic artist Rachel Dine. "I've heard she's delighted," the fashion designer said. "The reaction from everyone has been incredible. It's been a joy-filled event. She has an easy connection with people when she meets with patients and family members," a former staff member told People. "I think of her as sprinkling magic dust." She was close friends with Queen Elizabeth. Sophie's passion for family and charity work was admired by the late Queen and helped them develop a close relationship over the years. Queen Elizabeth regularly asked her daughter-in-law to accompany her to church at Sandringham and invited Sophie's father, who was widowed in 2005, to Balmoral Castle in the summers. They are very close, a royal source told People. Sophie is very family-oriented, and the Queen appreciates that. A guest who attended the late monarch's state funeral told People that Sophie was a great support to the royal family as they mourned the Queen.